Allison Levy is director of Brown University Digital Publications. She brings together organizational, academic, and technological resources to support new forms of faculty-authored scholarship, resulting in path-breaking award-winning publications. I'm not going to read the rest of her bio, but it is impressive, and the work that she's doing at Brown is amazing. So I'll turn it over to Allison.
So thank you again, John. Thank you, Pooja. I'm honored to be joining you all today virtually from Providence, Rhode Island. And I wish to begin by reading Brown University's Land Acknowledgement Statement. Brown University is located in Providence, Rhode Island, on lands that are within the ancestral homelands of the Narragansett Indian tribe. We acknowledge that beginning with colonization and continuing for centuries, the Narragansett Indian tribe have been dispossessed of most of their ancestral lands in Rhode Island by the actions of individuals and institutions. We acknowledge our responsibility to understand and respond to those actions. The Narragansett Indian tribe, whose ancestors stewarded these lands with great care, continues as a sovereign nation today. We commit to working together to honor our past and build our future with truth. So let me begin my remarks today with an overview of Brown University Digital Publications, which originated from conversations with the Mellon Foundation in 2014 about the challenges of advancing the practice and recognition of long-form born digital scholarly works. This resulted in the launch of an experimental collaboration between Brown's Dean of the Faculty and the University Library to encourage and support Brown faculty with innovative research that could not be done full justice in traditional print book format. By 2019, an external review of digital scholarship at Brown identified the digital publication program as a genuine signature for the university. That same year, we received a renewal grant from Mellon. The program's growth and maturation since then has continued to accelerate. Indeed, from the vantage point of today, what began as an untested organizational and academic hypothesis has succeeded to a degree that would have defied our most optimistic hopes at the start. Last year, recognizing that the program had outgrown its initiative phase, Brown University Digital Publications, or BUDP, as I'll refer to it, was established. And just last month, I'm delighted to announce BUDP joined the Association of University Presses as an affiliate member, a testament to Brown's unique contributions to the scholarly publishing ecosystem, from its novel university-based approach to digital content development to its constructive partnerships with member presses. To date, 3 born digital, exclusively digital, open access works developed through BUDP have been published by leading university presses, Virginia, Stanford, and MIT. And these have received major forms of recognition. Furnace and Fugue, a digital edition of Michael Meyer's Atalantifugians with scholarly commentary, published in 2020, was awarded the 2022 Roy Rosenzweig Prize in Creativity in Digital History by the American Historical Association. Shadow Plays, Virtual Realities in an Analog World, published in 2022, won the Prose Award for Best E-Product by the Association of American Publishers, and A New Vision for Islamic Pasts and Futures, published in 2022, also was recently shortlisted for the Royal Institute of Philosophy's Nayef Al-Rodan International Prize in Transdisciplinary Philosophy. The winner will be announced at the end of this month. As a measure of impact, it is particularly significant, I think, that an OA, Born Digital, exclusively digital publication, has been named a finalist for this book prize, which is not reserved exclusively for digital publications. All of these projects have enjoyed remarkable global reach to thousands of readers in a short amount of time. 13 other works approved by our faculty board are currently in development and represent a broad disciplinary range: Africana studies, American studies, anthropology and urban studies, archaeology and the ancient world, ethnic studies, history, history of art and architecture, Italian studies, literary arts, and performance studies. Of the 13 works in development, one is under contract with Fordham University Press. This project, which is featured at right, also serves as a case study for the Mellon-funded Embedding Preservability project conducted by NYU Libraries. The goal there is to support publishers and other multimodal content developers in making design choices that will ensure long-term access to complex scholarly works. We expect to take in 2 additional projects later this fall in response to our annual call for expressions of interest. We seek projects that demonstrate and include scholarly excellence and potential for disciplinary impact, well-documented, challenging intellectual questions that lend themselves to sustained argumentation and narration, advancement and/or enhancement of scholarly ideas, arguments, and conclusions through innovative uses of digital tools and/or data to push scholarly contribution beyond the capabilities of print, and a clearly conceived and articulated project with considerable research completed to fit within a reasonable time frame for completion. Faculty members selected for this opportunity receive a one-time, one-course reduction to be arranged in consultation with the academic department chair and the dean of the faculty. At Brown, new scholarly forms such as these are given equal weight in the review process for tenure and promotion, and we are especially attentive to our early career scholars. I regularly visit the Tenure and Promotion Committee to share reviewer reports and answer any questions about the selection, development, and publication processes. So let me here say a few words about process. Acquisition begins at Brown with development of the publication, and by that I refer to editorial, design, and digital production, fully realized by BUDP. We look to our press partners to manage peer review, copy editing, and marketing. In the majority of cases, Brown hosts the work on a university server and is responsible for maintenance and preservation. I should add that we are platform agnostic. We've so far developed publications using Scalar, WordPress, Manifold, and PubPub. Fulcrum and Quire will soon be brought into the mix. Finally, Brown may or may not hold the copyright to the work. In the majority of cases, we do. We are a relatively small team of 4, myself, an assistant editor, newly hired, and 2 design and user experience experts. We also welcome an advanced graduate student every year, and for the past 2 years have hosted a diversity in digital publishing postdoctoral research fellow. The capabilities of BUDP have been critical in advancing other projects, non-peer-reviewed, but nevertheless consequential scholarly publications focused on equity and justice. In addition to the content of this scholarship and providing academic support for scholars of color and women, BUDP has also been incorporating equitable and just practices as integral to the work. These practices include regularly supporting the work of designers from historical underrepresented groups, ensuring that projects are ADA compliant and accessible, and employing the expertise of proctors and fellows with knowledge of diverse populations. In fall of 2021, BUDP launched the expanded digital second edition of the landmark 2006 report of the Brown University Steering Committee on Slavery and Justice. In partnership with the Office of the President and the Ruth J. Simmons Center for the Study of Slavery and Justice, The second edition includes 15 newly commissioned essays from scholars and alumni. Transcriptions of all of the historical documents were included to make these materials more accessible. 2 women of color, a member of the library staff, and an external designer were central to the realization of the project. In addition, training for the next generation of diverse digital scholars and professionals included contributions from postdoctoral and graduate students from historically underrepresented groups. For the last 2 years, BUDP has also created a teaching and learning edition of the report for the incoming classes. And as of this fall, Brown's entire undergraduate student body has read this edition, which has captured 11,000 annotations and nearly 53,000 highlights. In September of 2022, BUDP released the second set of digital publications stemming from Brown's pioneering Race and in America webinar series, a systematic investigation of the foundational and enduring effects of anti-Black racism in America, sponsored by the university's Center for the Study of Race and Ethnicity in America. The digital publication series represents the compelling original panel discussions with expanded content and resources in an innovative, interactive format designed to heighten understanding and broaden critical conversations. As an open access publication, indeed, as with all of our publications, this digital series provides enduring, barrier-free access to knowledge. It has been developed with universal design principles for equitable use by all persons, including those with disabilities. In addition, the series features responsive design, readable on all digital devices. Each of the now 13 publications in the series includes a recording of the 90-minute panel discussions, along with podcasts in which Brown University students engage the panelists and follow up discussion, recommendations for entry point materials on the panel's focal topic, multimedia resource collections of materials referenced during the panel discussions, and suggestions for further exploration. BUDP has begun to expand its work beyond Brown's faculty in several strategic ways, and the remainder of my talk will focus on these initiatives. In August of 2021, Brown University Library received a $169,000 grant to develop an NEH Institute on advanced topics in the digital humanities, entitled Born Digital Scholarly Publishing, Resources and Roadmaps, a national training institute to support scholars who wish to pursue interpretive projects that require digital expression and digital publication, but lack the necessary resources and capacity at their home institutions. We undertook robust recruitment efforts to reach scholars from historically underrepresented groups and less well-resourced institutions. Brown University Library's designation as an affiliate member of the HBCU Library Alliance provided a unique opportunity for targeted outreach, and we prioritized some slots for faculty from member institutions. The selection committee considered projects that demonstrate scholarly excellence and potential for broad impact. The committee received 44 applications, 6 of those from international applicants, and there was a 100% acceptance rate for the 15 invitations extended, with numerous requests to be added to the wait list and at least one applicant offering to cover their own expenses. 9 of the participants, or 60% of the cohort, served on the faculty of historically Black colleges and universities. Taking into account this group's prior teaching appointments and undergraduate and graduate institutions, the cohort represented a network of 15 HBCUs. In terms of academic rank, the cohort included 1 adjunct lecturer, 2 postdoctoral fellows, and 4 assistant, 6 associate, and 2 full professors. Geographically, the cohort represented eight states and the District of Columbia. Major findings during the application stage included strong expressions of need for this kind of professional training. And I'm going to read a couple of quotes here. The first from LaTanya Rogers, Associate Professor of African American Literature at Fisk University. My university is culturally rich and socially diverse. Our students are super talented. However, the university does not always have the resources or the availability to release me from a course or fund summer research. Some of my colleagues find themselves in a similar situation to mine. The chance to live out my publication goals with digital experts from the Brown University Library is a dream come true. The second quote I'll read is from Marco Robinson, who is Associate Professor of History and Assistant Director of the Ruth Simmons Center on Race and Justice at Prairie View A&M University. This opportunity will have an immediate impact on my campus, in my local community-based research, and at other area HBCUs. The Institute's reach and engagement with minority-serving institutions has the potential to transform the academy and the landscape of higher education. The hybrid 3-week Summer Institute took place in July of 2022, last summer. The duration of the Institute and the cap of 15 participants ensured that all had the opportunity to work closely and collaboratively with Institute faculty and one another. This hybrid approach lent itself to a nimbler model that was also more inclusive. The Institute dates allowed those participants and invited speakers whose institutions operate on a quarter system to attend fully, without the need to adjust teaching schedules or related commitments. For invited speakers working in publishing, the dates followed the Association of University Press's annual meeting in June. Moreover, the structure, weeks 1 and 2 online and week 3 in person at Brown, placed fewer demands on participants' time and minimized travel requirements, thereby allowing those with personal or professional obligations to participate fully. The curriculum combined foundational knowledge and practical resources with hands-on, individualized developmental editing workshops. Taught by internationally recognized digital humanities scholars, librarians, and technologists, by authors of Born Digital Publications, and by leading university press directors, acquisitions editors, and production managers, all selected for their expertise and demonstrated commitment to diversity and inclusion. This first of its kind training program provided participants with robust learning and rare networking opportunities. The faculty drew on decades of collective experience in developing projects at the vanguard of Born Digital Scholarly Publishing. Through a combination of behind-the-scenes study of published and in-progress digital publications, candid conversations around process, and practical feedback, the faculty equipped the cohort with in-depth knowledge of the digital publishing process, familiarity with open source tools and platforms, advanced project management skills, concrete and individualized plans for project advancement, and top-level publishing industry contacts. Cohort support continued over 2 90-minute virtual check-ins held in October 2022 and January 2023, during which participants shared their progress and challenges and received collective and individualized problem-solving and project management support from the Brown team. An ADA-compliant website was created to provide an active web presence for Born Digital Scholarly Publishing before, during, and after the Institute. The initial purpose of the website was to advertise the Institute and support recruitment efforts. The website attracted 850 unique visitors within the first month of launch. Prior to the start of the Institute, cohort and faculty bios, along with the course outline and recommended readings, were added to the website. Captioned recordings of all faculty presentations were eventually added. By disseminating this trove of original content to a global audience via an open access website, the teaching and learning impact of the Institute has been extended well beyond the cohort of 15 humanities scholars. To date, the website has had over 3,200 unique visitors from 83 countries. In addition, Institute personnel continue to direct acquisitions editors to the website and to encourage communication with authors of in-progress projects. One member of the cohort has been issued a contract by a scholarly press post-Institute, and several others have been asked to submit sample chapters for peer review. The work of the Institute has also been publicized through social media posts, news stories, and conference presentations, including the April 2023 event Toward Radical Imagination, HBCUs, Digital Libraries, and Authentic Collaboration, which was part of the IMLS-funded mentorship program called the Authenticity Project. 4 members of the cohort also spoke about the Institute at this event on a panel entitled Digital Publishing, Lessons from Brown University's Born Digital Scholarly Publishing Institute. And I also spoke at that event. Post-Institute feedback reinforced the value and impact of the Institute for cohort members. And again, I'm going to read some very powerful quotes. Bringing back LaTanya Rogers from Fisk. The Institute served as the catalyst I needed to kickstart my research agenda. The cohort model was instantly disarming and supportive. I am so pleased that this institute bolsters the credibility for digital publishing as a scholarly form. As a direct result of your engagement, I have sent my manuscript proposal for consideration. For me, this is a bold and courageous act that took weeks of positive self-talk. I think I'm on my way now. Thank you so very, very much for this institute. From Tyrone McKinley Freeman, Associate Professor of Philanthropic Studies at Indiana University, the Institute gave me new colleagues, new insights, and new energy and excitement for the digital humanities and digital publishing. Now I have a comprehensive orientation towards digital publishing that has reshaped my approach to my project. Ashley Robertson Preston, Assistant Professor of History at Howard University, wrote, "It was transformative. I learned so many great concepts that I am now introducing to my students at Howard University and implementing within my work as a public historian. The program's dedication to diversity and inclusion was very apparent, and it was refreshing to meet scholars from the various universities and from different backgrounds." And the last quote in this set from Takia Anthony, Associate Professor of History at Kentucky State University, writes, "The warm welcome, enthusiasm, and assistance from the Brown University team has encouraged me to pursue digital publishing and introduce the option to my graduate students who seek to enter the academy. I am grateful for the Summer Institute for bringing such dynamic scholars together. I have met and stayed connected with scholars whom I may not have met had it not been for this experience. We are now a digital publishing family." In August of 2023, just couple of months ago, based on the success of the 2022 Institute, the NEH awarded Brown Library another $169,000 grant to host a second iteration of Born Digital Scholarly Publishing Resources and Roadmaps. In July of 2024, 15 new participants from less well-resourced institutions will receive specialized training. further expanding representation in born digital scholarly publishing. A special feature of the second institute will be the return to campus of the 2022 cohort to provide project updates, serve as peer mentors, and contribute to further community building with the 2024 cohort. This blended cohort approach will be facilitated by Cosette Bruns Alonso and Warren Harding, both of whom served as support staff last summer as Diversity in Digital Publishing postdoctoral fellows at Brown. They will now join the faculty. Thus, the 2024 Institute offers an opportunity to multiply the cohort effect, to bring back the inaugural scholars and support team to inform and inspire for durable impact. Now, while this intensive training provided by the NEH Institute plays an important role in advancing authors' plans, significant challenges remain for faculty with heavy teaching loads and other institutional circumstances that might impede progress. Indeed, a recent NEH report, Tell Them We Are Rising on HBCUs and the Digital by Bria Page, looks at the pressing wants and needs for digital development on HBCU campuses across the nation. She writes, quote, faculty and staff at HBCUs are doing digital work in the humanities, but there remains a need for additional resources, including dedicated training for faculty, staff, and students. As a critical next step, Brown University Library has received a 3-year, $246,000 implementation grant from the Institute of Museum and Library Services, Laura Bush 21st Century Librarian Program, to establish a cross-organizational training and support program for HBCU library professionals who are seeking to gain or expand expertise in developing open access born digital scholarship. Upon completion of the program, 3 librarians will have obtained a highly specialized skill set fully realized through the development of a digital publication authored by a member of their faculty. Of note, the 3 faculty authors were members of the 2022 cohort from Fisk, Kentucky State, and Prairie View, and thus they enter the IMLS program with significant research and project plans already underway. In addition, the University of Michigan Press will collaborate with BUDP to mentor the cohort and, via an open access publishing model, disseminate HBCU-generated, peer-reviewed digital publications to the broadest possible audience for the greatest possible impact. In sum, this expansive approach, informed by the lessons learned from the 2022 iteration of Born Digital Scholarly Publishing, will build capacity at HBCU libraries while providing extended author support over the full life cycle of the digital publication process. Both the NEH and IMLS funded interventions developed by Brown address equity issues that persist in the academic publishing ecosystem by establishing models for enhanced support for less well-resourced staff, faculty, and students to enrich and expand scholarly discourse through their contributions. Turning to another of our expansive initiatives and partnerships, BUDP has partnered with the MIT Press to develop a multimodal book series called On Seeing. Combining the press's global publishing experience and Brown Library's digital content development expertise, the series examines understudied questions at the intersection of visual culture and subjects such as race, care, decolonization, privilege, and precarity. With inclusivity and access as driving motivations, On Seeing will be published in print editions and in interactive open access digital editions. Moreover, the series will be launched alongside a community engagement program tailored to each specific volume and supported by BUDP. Resources might include a downloadable community conversation toolkit, an author interview or podcast, or free to the public events such as book readings and structured conversations in libraries, bookstores, or public arts institutions that are recorded and then added to the digital edition. The first title in the series is Morte Vivum, Photography and the Politics of the Visual by Kimberly Juanita Brown, who is the inaugural director of the Institute for Black Intellectual and Cultural Life at Dartmouth College, where she is also an associate professor of English and creative writing. This title will be released in early February 2024. Morte Vivum is a powerful examination of the unsettling history of photography and its fraught relationship to global anti-Blackness. We are developing a consentful tech framework for the digital edition of Morte Vivum with the goal of providing support in using and making technology in a way that creates safety, that practices good consent, that is based in care, and that acknowledges that when safety and consent are absent, those who are most marginalized experience greater harm. This means, among other practices, taking a creative approach to the presentation of very sensitive images. Some will be displayed using a timer, others will fade in and out of view, others will swap challenging images with helpful text. The display always controlled by the reader via a quick and intuitive hover or similar mechanism designed to reduce the risk of harm and ensuring that the reader has agency as they move through this challenging material. In sum, Brown is committed to promoting innovative scholarship through both the practice and recognition of new scholarly forms, well beyond our own campus. From establishing cross-organizational training and support programs to creating opportunities that amplify diverse voices and perspectives, BUDP is pushing the boundaries of what scholarly publishing can be, helping to set the standards for the future of scholarship in the digital age, all the while maintaining a commitment to accessible, intentional, and inclusive practice. Thank you.
Thanks very much for that presentation. It's really interesting hearing, especially what my alma mater, Brown, has been doing. So I'm glad to hear the good work is being done there. So it sounds like, from what you're saying, really the main blocker for you is really going to not be just technical in nature. There are a lot of other institutional, organizational issues you need to address. However, I am a technologist. I do work with Amazon. So I am curious, what do you see as the main technical blockers for you, or the main things that you could use to help simplify scholarly digital publishing, either in the development of works or in the long-term maintenance of these works?
Thank you. That's a great question. Happy to hear that you're an alum. Please come back and visit us. So let's see. I want to answer that a few ways, or there's just a number of things I'd like to touch on. Scalability and sustainability are our chief concerns. We are, I think we've been very productive in a short amount of time. We are a relatively small team. We're only seeing an increase in interest from faculty, from university presses, from platform developers. And so this is a really exciting time where all the experimentation has been happening, and now we're starting to develop models, collaboratively working together and bringing work out, and so being able to identify again what the greatest needs are. I think we are very focused on author support. Our own faculty authors, and as I demonstrated through the talk today, making sure that this opportunity to pursue scholarly ideas in this digital space is open to any scholars who want to or need to develop their ideas in ways that conventional print formats just simply can't support. And so I think that means having a streamlined process. It means having maybe nimble platforms or technology, again, that can accommodate the scholar's vision and creativity. That's one reason, a main reason why we have not to date worked with a single platform. We don't take a cookie cutter approach. It's very much a bespoke approach. And I do realize that that's not perhaps not scalable right now, but this enables us to, again, to develop models and share those with a wider community. And so I think that something that we're involved in right now, we just had a meeting yesterday, which is very exciting. For the On Seeing series with MIT, we are using the PubPub platform. So that was a choice that we made. It is a series, of course, so we want to be consistent across the titles. Selecting one platform it made a lot of sense to us, and we like what PubPub offers, and we thought that it was a suitable platform for the books that we anticipate publishing in this series. That said, we also could anticipate having some multimodal content or desired user experiences or navigation on the part of the authors that perhaps the platform could not yet support. And so we're working with the Knowledge Futures group to help shape the next version of PubPub that certainly will be put to immediate use for our first title, Morte Vivum, and the remaining titles in the series, but it's also going to then, these extra features and functionality will be available to the wider community. So I think that, I guess then to try and answer your question more succinctly, I think that it is a rapidly evolving landscape, not just on the editorial side, but technologically as well. And I think working together to identify maybe where there are some limits, and listening to the authors, listening to those scholars who are thinking in this space, and working together to make sure that we can again help them advance their ideas and argumentation in completely innovative ways. And that, of course, when this reaches a global audience, the impact, of course, is enormous. So it's I think it starts with a smaller team, but then, of course, we have the possibility of really impacting great change on a broader scale.
Hi, Allison. My name is Pooja Talgatrella. I'm with the American Psychiatric Association and also work with John on this conference. So my entire career has been in scholarly publishing and university presses in particular. And while your program has an extraordinary set of resources that cover the editorial, the technological, the research development, what is the response from the tenure committee, which often, at least in my experience, still said, Born Digital is great, but we want that printed hardcover monograph when consideration. And so I'm curious about how you're also shaping the contours of that landscape, since Born Digital Scholarship is scholarship.
Yes, thank you, Pooja. So from the very beginning at Brown, when we received that first Mellon grant, our dean of the faculty visited all of our department chairs and worked with those departments to ensure that the language was adjusted so that projects like this, peer-reviewed, long-form, original scholarship, though presented in a very new and different way, was given equal weight in the review process. And as I mentioned, I frequently visit that committee and keep them up to date on the works we're developing. I also consult regularly with the dean of the faculty, particularly if I'm working with an early career scholar whose tenure case is on the horizon. There is that support at Brown, and yet there still is added responsibility for me and my team to ensure that we are working according to schedule, working with that author to make sure that we are understanding and interpreting their vision and developing it in this new way. And so far, let's see, I'm working with 3 early career scholars. Now, as we all know, there can be generational challenges to this, or perhaps disciplinary challenges. Some departments and disciplines remain more conservative than others, and so we also are waiting to see what will happen in those cases beyond the Brown campus. Letters of support, for example, from colleagues at other institutions. How will they respond to Born Digital publications? So far, our authors have an excellent track record with grants. We, of course, have Mellon funding to support the design and development of these projects, but we also encourage our authors to apply for additional funds where it's necessary. And so the response in that realm has been very positive, and we're very grateful for that. Whether or not a print book is also produced is really the decision of the author and the press. We are agnostic on that point. To date, the work has been exclusively digital open access. That's what the authors and the presses wanted. The MIT series is our first experiment with hybrid publishing, but if we do have an author who feels that having a print book alongside the Born Digital publication, we absolutely would support that. And again, it really is determined on an individual basis. So again, everything we're doing is in support of our faculty authors. And so whatever we can do to facilitate this process is really one of our main objectives.
Thank you, Allison, so much for joining us. We enjoyed it. Can we give her a round of applause?
Thanks, everyone. It was great to be here. Sorry, I couldn't be there in person. Next time.